Hello, my name is Jacob Chance. I'm the co-founder of Effingo and goeffingo.com, and we sell 3D printed objects and files for 3D objects to be printed. That is in essence what we do. It's right in the name. Effingo is from Latin, means to copy, to form, to create. That is what we are about at goeffingo.com. Now, the problem with 3D printing right now is that people aren't really doing it. And there are a few reasons for this. I took a small poll. I already had a general idea of what I thought the issue might be, but I took a small poll at my university to figure out why people aren't 3D printing. And most people don't have time to learn the benefits of 3D printing, and they don't have money for it, and they just don't know much about it. It's not really accessible to the average person. No one has time to go out and buy a 3D printer to make a 3D model, to, worry about setting up the 3D printer. It's difficult, it's tedious. The technology is not user-friendly. So this problem was something I wanted to address. I wanted people to be able to create or conceptualize something and have it manifested in front of them as easily as possible. So the solution is just a marketplace for 3D printable items. There doesn't seem to be a lack of interest about 3D printing. As you can see, I took a small poll. In passing, a majority of people have thought about 3D printing before, especially people related to STEM fields. 3D printing isn't foreign to them. They have thought about it. They might have even 3D printed things before, but again, it's not user-friendly. It's not really widely available. 3D printing is an exciting technology that's been underutilized by the general public. Most of the growth in the 3D printing industry is actually from things like healthcare and the automotive field and things like that, and industrial. Residential use is kind of stagnant. It's very niche. I want to make having an object 3D printed as cheap and easy as possible, whether you have a 3D printer or not. Effingo is an e-commerce website. We will make money off the sales of items on our website. It will offer a platform for people to express themselves creatively and compete with other vendors. This will ideally make prices lower than they are for other services that offer to have custom-made 3D printable objects. People will be able to receive a cheap, custom-made 3D printed object of their choice, regardless of if they own a 3D printer or not. Pre-established products can essentially be manufactured by an established vendor or a company for free. They can make molds. There's a lot of potential for manufacturing to be done by 3D printers, not just industrially, but residentially as well. People in their own home can just make a product, and the manufacturer doesn't have to worry about manufacturing it and delivering it. It can just be downloaded and printed right in the person's home. Or if someone doesn't have a 3D printed object, 3D printer, and they want a 3D printed object, they can have it, manifested and sent to them by someone that does have that ability, that does have the ability to 3D print things. So that is, in essence, our business model. That's what we do. The distribution of files for people to 3D print things, and the distribution of 3D printed objects. There are a few things that set us apart. Most websites that sell 3D printed files or objects are either very large websites with a broad inventory, like Etsy, or have a very strong or they have a very strong social aspect, like some of these smaller sites that focus specifically on 3D printers. And on these sites, vendors typically make money off of, Patreon or tips. Like I said, it's very social. It's like a social media site almost. And large websites with broad inventories like Etsy aren't really go-tos for 3D printed objects. And the files that are sold, whether it be on Etsy or on a smaller site like Thingiverse, are typically sold to other people with 3D printers. Our vendors will make money off of their sales. And these sales could be a file to someone else with a 3D printer or a physical object to someone who doesn't have a 3D printer. If you're a large vendor selling a popular item, then you might not have to manufacture it at all. Other people can print it for you, and you can make money off those sales. And most of all, anyone can make anything at all and have it made. That's essentially what sets us apart, is because 3D print niche websites typically focus on the sale and distribution of files. And there is very little profit incentive for people to share these files aside from the social aspect. And I believe we offer a profit incentive not only for the sale of these files, but also for the sale of the object themselves. There is competition, as I was describing in the previous slide, in this industry. As I said before, competition revolving around a similar concept has a large social aspect where vendors make money off tips or donations. A good example is Thingiverse, where a lot of people with 3D printers get their files from. Thingiverse and others like it actually have a recurring and loyal consumer base with recurring internet traffic. Thingiverse has consistently had 20 million visits every 6 months, pretty consistently. So it seems that a lot of people are going back to this site. And I'll show more about that in the next slide. But this leads me to believe that discovery of these new sites is very rare. Again, I'll explain more about that in the next slide, where the majority of this traffic is actually not driven by display ads or anything like that. It's people are actually going to the site directly through search. So discovery is pretty rare, and vendors on these sites make very little off their work. Finally, 3D printed objects, physical 3D printed objects, are not really widely sold anywhere. You can find them, but they are not widely sold. And companies that custom make 3D printed items for you typically charge a pretty penny for that custom made object, because they pretty much are the only way you can get it done. So, as I said before, most of the competition gets their traffic from direct search, up to 20%. The rest comes from social media and other websites that are very similar to theirs. And like a very tiny percentage actually comes from display ads. These types of vendors do not respond to display ads. I believe we can attract vendors to our website because we give them a greater incentive for profit. They don't typically respond to display ads, so we likely have to find our vendors at their source and bring them to our website to have a strong and diverse base. There are several websites where these vendors typically hang around. 3D printing communities have a large presence on YouTube as well, which actually drives a significant amount of traffic to these sites. The analytics on screen are from Thingiverse, but similar websites follow a similar pattern where a very large percentage of the people going to these websites literally just search it up. They just go straight to it. They aren't clicking on ads. They aren't being sent to this site by someone else. They're just looking for it. So what are we going to do with your money? Well, we need to build a large website. Right now, it looks like this website is going to have one vendor, me, but one person can't attract as many customers as we'd like. So we need a large amount of vendors on our website. In order to have the resources to accomplish this, we need a larger team with more perspectives. One person can only code so much. I want a large website, one that can accommodate thousands of vendors. I want safeguards in place to protect customers from fraud. I want to be able to market to our target audience using the popularity of established creators to our advantage. again, getting these vendors on our site to begin with so that we can start getting customers to have a lot of options. And most importantly, I want anyone to be able to make anything on our website. And in order to do this, we need a lot of creativity, a bigger team, and we need some investment. So thank you for listening. It was greatly appreciated. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.